From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big early morning on Early Mornings LALATE, and you made it to the weekend in this fourth stimulus check update of 2021. We'll be going over that monthly stimulus check and why you may be getting more fourth stimulus checks in this fourth stimulus check update of 2021. The breaking news across the board. Then the second part, we go to the two-path process, the fourth stimulus recon, and the bipartisan, and why the fourth stimulus recon may be giving you additional money that we didn't anticipate. OMG. Then the third part, we go over calling the vote. Why how they vote on it is so much more important than when they vote on it. And you'll see in this video that there's a surprise that only I've uncovered as to the voting process, that they've been preparing this for a while, and you're going to be surprised by this revelation. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which goes across the board this fall with another stimulus check, and the big money across the board that you can get. It's a big morning, and there's a lot of things happening. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I am here, you are here. Let's get to all this delicious news as we go into a big early morning, and that early morning broadcast starts right here, right now. How you doing? It's Friday morning and you made it to the weekend. I mean, I consider Friday of the weekend, don't you? So congratulations. Boy, how's the weather where you are? It's July and it was a little too hot yesterday here in LA. Let's see how it's going to be today. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Boy, this fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today is a big recording. There's so much happening. We'll be going over so much of the details, starting with this check that the Democrats want you to have and why you may be getting more checks than we thought that even earlier this week. Then we'll be cutting to the voting process in the third part of this video. It's the most exciting part of the video, stay to the very end, and why how they call the vote is the critical issue. We'll also be going over the two-path process. And then we cut to fifth stimulus later in this video that gives you another stimulus checks and raise your benefits up lifetime. And then we get to the big money as viewers like Nisi are getting $22,000 from this channel, and viewers like Norm are getting 3 items. Art is getting 3 items. And John got $12,000 for Snap. This is LALATE, America's only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial channel in America, live in the morning, like right now. Well, not right now, but later today. And then taped in the afternoons. I'm next back with you with Mornings LALATE live on air, and then Noontime LALATE live on air. And then at the time of this recording is overnight crypto playing live. So this video will take you automatically into that show as soon as this one's done. You don't have to do anything. Don't even have to lift a finger. But subscribe first. Lift that finger and subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Also, like this video. Every like helps. It also delivers you a side of parsley. And consider becoming a member. Let's get to those checks and learn why we may be seeing more checks from the Democrats than we had thought, even earlier this week. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year stimulus checks. That's the key ingredient. We'll be coming back to that in a second. Senate checks July to December, so 6 of them. Let's go over everything else then. Well, the payouts. $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000 for the House. Senate monthly unknown. But word on the street is the Senate pays this. OMG. That's per person. That is deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000 a person. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400 a person. Wow. So what's that breaking news you're telling me about, LA? It's this. Pandemic plus 1 year. It was just 3 days ago that I had that voice. I said, well, they may not consider the pandemic. They may consider the pandemic over and just give you 1 year of checks. They may not say pandemic plus 1 year anymore. Oh, no. That's changing very quickly as Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, the head of Berkshire Hathaway, said the pandemic's not over. Los Angeles reversed their mask mandate, now recommending individuals to wear a mask inside, even if fully vaccinated because of the Delta variant. And then big travel financial advisors yesterday said that they think the Delta variant is going to really hurt U.S. travel quickly. And so if that's all the case, if the pandemic's not over because of Delta, then the big issue is the Senate may actually be on the short end of the number of checks. The House may end up giving you that pandemic plus 1 year. Wow. I mean, that is big news. So the House may not be giving you just $13,000. Let's compare that to the Senate and this over 6 months. I think I have an opinion. Jump into the live chat right now. Jump into the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather this Friday morning. Boy, things change quickly on this channel, don't they? Who gets this fourth stimulus check? You do. If you're a single individual, 75,000 or less, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 or less, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check and double it. If you're a family of four, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone. Thank goodness. And the fourth stimulus check comes monthly. It does not come in a wave. It's not a waivable check. So if you're at the pinata store trying why? I don't know, you're buying a pinata. You want to hit something. And you're buying a pinata and there's a check. And the check's trying to try out a pinata and just keeps on missing. Hey, check, what are you doing? I see you waving at the pinata. You keep on missing. Boy, you got bad aim. Where do you get your vision from, Mitch? Don't think it's a root check. You're a root check. Hey, watch me with that thing you're swinging there. It's not a root check. It's just a check that can't swing a bat at a pinata. So there you go. The Democrats represent. You'll be getting a fourth stimulus check in the month of July for the month of July. Just hit the pinata and see if the check's in there. It'll be in the August for the month of August. And hit it again, and then maybe there's another check in there. And they represent that the final vote will be by July 4th, but more about that final vote later in this video. But boy, the second and third part of this video, especially the third part of this video, is the big one. The fourth stimulus check will be coming in its own recon process, as it's now separated away from roads and bridges in their own path called bipartisan. I'll be explaining to you why this is incredible great news as we go into the weekend, and why, in the third part of this video, that the day of the vote is not the critical issue. It's how they vote. How they vote is the critical issue, not the day they vote. So I'll explain that in this video. Also, let's get a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, which heats up this fall with another stimulus check. Wow. And then raise your benefits up a lifetime. OMG. And we'll go over the breaking data yesterday from the Department of Labor that signals where that money is going. How high is that inflation going to take your benefits up? Wow. But first, let's get some money. Wow. Nisi got $22,000 from this channel. Yes, and that does not even include a stimulus check. She got $22,000 from these recordings in the last few days. John got $12,000 for Snap. Nisi got rent, Snap, and a couple things. Art got 3 items. Viewers are getting anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000 routinely on this channel every few hours, and viewers are now getting $5,000 to $7,000 a Snap every few hours. What's going on? Get that pen and paper ready, because if you haven't done it, you're going to do it right today as well. Jump in the live chat. If you got in a penny from this channel, jump in the live chat and say what you got. And if you've done this before, do it again, because every time you do it, inspire someone else to go get that money. Get a pen and paper ready, because I'm going to go over the big money for you, and it's starting right now. It's third stimulus. And when third stimulus passed, I said, yeah, you're going to get a $14 stimulus check, but you're also going to be eligible for about $14,000. If you're new to this channel, this is what I do. This is not the check tracking channel. This is the check cashing channel. All these stimulus packages have fortunes of money for you. And if you're not getting the money, you're doing yourself a disservice. I first showed viewers the impact of this in fall of last year. When we were waiting for second stimulus to pass, it had not yet passed, and it was the holidays, people needed money, and I got viewers $250,000 for rent and utilities. People like Tyrone, family of 4 in Boston, I got them $15,000, covered all the rent all the way to the spring, changed his holidays, absolutely changed his life incredibly across the board. So I want you to do that as well. Get that pen and paper ready. We're going to go over different places that have different eligibility. And if one says no, don't worry, reach out to the next. They also have their own pots of money. We're going to get rent, utilities, internet, and also homeowners utilities just to start. And the rent, I say, is about $5,000, about 4 to 6 months of rent. I'm wrong. Viewers are getting $9, $10, $11, $12,000. They're getting a lot more money than I'm showing to you. And here we go. Where do you reach out to? You reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. One viewer on Facebook said, I reached out to the city. They said there was no money. You don't stop at the city. Maybe it has no money. You reach out to city hall, county housing authority, state hall, state housing authority. You absolutely have to check all of them. And what are the keywords you say? Rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID. Mortgage assistance because of COVID. Utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's mixtape drop date. You didn't get the last one? Oh, it's going to be wonderful. Guess who he does a guess who he does one song with? Yeah, To Me. It's called Go To Me. So there you go. Can I say that? I guess I just did say it. I said there, Go To Me. Yeah, it's a great song. It's, yeah, they're going to play it at the GOP convention. So there you go. I think $5,000 for rent. It's wonderful. But I got more money for you right now, and it's money coming from SNAP. And what is SNAP? It is money for food. How do you get it? From Department of Agriculture. Reach out to Department of Agriculture and get this money. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. It's a fortune. It is $15,000, $16,000 for family of four in Hawaii. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden and one from Trump that raised everyone's benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And boy, look at what we're doing. John got $12,000 for SNAP, he revealed 2 days ago. If you gotten any money for SNAP or any money for rent, jump on the live chat, and you're killing it. I'm killing it. The check in that thing you're doing, not really killing it. Sorry. 11 minutes of this video is $15,000, $16,000 for SNAP for family four in Hawaii, $5,000 for rent. I got more money for you right now. It's the money coming back from your states. The states has been identified to return money back to you due to computer error. States had overpaid you due to computer error and they took the money back. Well, the federal government said, no, that was the citizens' money to have. So where are you getting the money? Direct deposit, whatever account you had on file with that state. When are you getting the money? Reach out to your respective state and say, hey, state, I'm looking for that money due to the check, due to the computer error. Can you track it for me? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the last pile of the money is wonderful. And it's the money coming back from IRS. If you got this as well, jump on the live chat. This is the refund check for your taxes you paid on your unemployment benefits. Let's go over how much, when, where, and how you get it first. How much? Let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. When? This month. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to iris.gov, set up a username and password, and go in there and do a transcript search. You'll be shocked what it will reveal. I mean, stuff you've never heard before. Some stuff you really don't want to know. And you wish you never heard it. It will reveal the taxes you paid. It will reveal the tax return and the date you filed it. It will reveal, really, who does Mitch idolize in the R&B universe? It will reveal, when is Mitch doing a duet with Lil Wayne? I just had to do that. Does Mitch know any of Kanye's songs? And finally, when are you getting your refund check? And there you go. Can we top that as we can? I just can't imagine Mitch and Kanye on the same stage together. They just sort of interrupt each other all the time. And there we go. As we can we top that? Yes, as we go into the second big update of your voice stimulus check this early morning's broadcast. Well, away we go, because now your recon has suddenly gotten all the benefits you had wanted. Let's recap. 3.5 weeks ago, your checks were in the recon. Your checks were in that recon with climate, with CARES economy, with money for seniors, with money for adults, with money for children, with money for medicine, all in that recon. And then what happened was, unbeknownst to us, But now we know, unbeknownst to us, about 3.5 weeks ago, the president started having meetings with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer saying the recon's too big. There's a problem here. The recon's too big. And then a week ago, this last Wednesday, the president met with them again, and they decided, you know what, you're right. It's too big, the recon. Let's take some stuff out of the recon. And the stuff we're going to take out of the recon are roads and bridges. Spin it off as a TV series. Roads and Bridges, otherwise known as Nash Bridges. Don Johnson. Oh, no, not that show. It's called Bipartisan, not Nash Bridges. The spin-off is called Bipartisan. And suddenly we had two paths. Recon, your stuff, still where it was before, and Bipartisan Roads and Bridges. It really, by doing that, helped a lot of things a lot better. And as we go into this early morning's broadcast, we learn now it helped things better than we ever knew before. Number one, the recon was too big, and it was too big to pass. Now the recon is perfectly sized to pass. That was number one. Number two, by removing the roads and bridges, it allowed the progressives, and this is sort of a spoiler of the later part of this video, it allowed the progressives to be able to add other things into the recon for you. Yeah, spoiler coming up. Number three, it finally gave identity to your recon, because over the last few weeks, we had only heard from naysayers. It's only roads and bridges. There's no money in there. Well, did the president really want the naysayers to run that narrative a lot? Did that actually help the president with the naysayers continually saying, it's only roads and bridges, there's nothing else in the recon except roads and bridges, when there actually was other stuff in there? Why did the president potentially like those naysayers running that narrative? Did it actually help him? I'll show you that revelation later in this video. But finally, it also finally helped you by doing this two-path process because of two major details. That finally the identity of the recon became formulated. Finally, Americans saw that the recon is only about you, is only about checks for you, and that nothing else was really in the recon anymore except checks for you. That there's no roads and bridges anymore in recon. It was only about your stuff before, and now it is clearly only about your stuff. Here is also what surprisingly did not change, and you'll see this in a second from now, is that the recon was paid for by corporate taxes when it had when it had roads and bridges in there. Remember, the president wanted to pay for roads and bridges by corporate taxes being raised in the recon. Well, now that the bipartisan has been formed and it's a spin-off, is the bipartisan paid for by by raising corporate taxes? Are roads and bridges still paid for by raising corporate taxes? No. So what happened to those corporate taxes? They're still being used to pay for the remainder of the recon, which is your stuff. I see what you're getting at. Yeah, you're going to see that more later in this video. So the second thing that's wonderful is that suddenly we saw that the protection around the recon was formulating. And finally, because of the fact that the only thing that's left of the recon is only progressive ideals, progressive policies, progressive checks. And suddenly the progressives had their absolute favorite position they could want. And we had seen that over the weeks before, but didn't know why. 2 weeks ago, today, Jalapal Schatz, both progressives, issued the following statement. They basically said the White House thanked them for protecting the recon. Why were they saying at that time, 2 weeks ago, that the president was asking them to protect the recon? Because the recon at that time had roads and bridges in there and all the progressiveness. And he wanted to make sure that the progressiveness stayed in there because it's also his progressiveness. Now that the roads and bridges are out, they don't have to protect it like they did before. They literally have a fort around it because the only thing in recon is what the Democrats put in there. And the Democrats have put in there only progressiveness. Wow, that's wonderful news. Can we top that? Yeah. As Jalapal wrote Schumer a letter about 2 weeks ago, say, Chuck called the vote. Now that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are among the 100-plus House Democrats who were reaching the president a letter a week earlier saying, we're going to be putting forced stimulus checks into the forced stimulus recon. Wow. Can we top that? We can. As the president got a letter from 7 House subcommittee members that said, Mr. President, when we write the forced stimulus recon, we will be putting monthly stimulus checks in there. Well, who are these people? You're going to see for the first time in this video that I'm saying the word recon a little bit more so you understand the significance of this. They wrote the third stimulus recon, which is a Democratic bill. They wrote the third stimulus recon, which gave you a third stimulus check. They say they're writing the fourth stimulus recon now, which is a Democratic bill, to give you monthly stimulus checks. And they say they're writing the fifth stimulus recon this fall to give you a fifth stimulus check. OMG. And they wrote your first and second, third stimulus checks, first and second stimulus checks as well. Can we top that? We can. As the president 3 weeks ago tomorrow, went overseas and got signed into law an international agreement which anchors fourth stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line, because now international taxes don't need to be included in the confines of the fourth stimulus recon. They're in the international agreement. Yeah, I previewed this a little bit earlier for you because remember, recon is paid for by corporate taxes. Bipartisan is paid for by staying away from corporate taxes. You don't mention corporate taxes around Mitch, his hair turns blue. He doesn't want to hear that. But the fact that roads and bridges are out of the recon, it's still paid by for roads and bridges. It's still paid by corporate taxes. What happened? The President of the United States had realized that in raising corporate taxes for stimulus, he was worried that business may leave the United States, may go overseas to another place where corporate taxes are lower. So the president reached out to those countries overseas and said, hey, raise your corporate taxes. And they tentatively said yes. The president reached out to his staff and said, hey, staff, let's go meet those countries in December, bring them Jill's potpourri, and have them sign on the dotted line. The staff said, Mr. President, you can bring them potpourri in July or in June. Oh, I didn't think of that. And that's why 3 weeks ago tomorrow, the president went overseas and got them to sign it into law, which now anchors fourth stimulus recon to the edge of the finish line, because now corporate taxes about international issues are no longer needed in the fourth stimulus recon. They're in the international agreement he signed, making it easier to pass fourth stimulus recon for the Democratic caucus that have been drafting the fourth stimulus recon. Wow, can we top that? We can. As we go into the final and third major part, and this is the most important part of your fourth stimulus recon, how they call the vote, why that's more important than when they call the vote, and why suddenly I'm realizing and revealing to you for the first time that no one else has really revealed anywhere, that it looks like this whole recon, divestiture of roads and bridges out of recon, was a big setup to get recon passed. Oh my goodness, that's brilliant, as Sir Lloyd would say. And that's coming up later in this video. Also for stimulus as well. But first, subscribe. No. But first, the most wonderful thing of all, the volunteers. If you've had problems with rent, utility, mortgage, internet, or SNAP, and you can't find it, don't worry. You can certainly find the volunteers. Find them on the community page. Go down the description, open the description, you'll see an emoji of a house. Next to emoji of a house is a link to the community page, news.la.com/community. Click on the link, and it'll send you to the community page. It has a picture of some cats. They're not the volunteers. They're just cats. Not the musical, real cats. And they will help you get that money. Now, the volunteers can't do other things. They cannot fix your roof. They cannot drive you to Mitch's Lobster Fest. They cannot give you the recipe for $12 ice cream. And they cannot really tell you the lyrics to any of Mitch's new mixtape songs. But they can certainly tell you everything else. And with that, here's a little bit about the volunteers. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds on the big shocking developments in this huge fourth stimulus check update on Early Mornings LA. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on this early morning's broadcast. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and the surfer's crashing. He just crashes in that video. It's just hysterical. How are you? Boy, what a big morning it is. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over the big shocker. The big shocker on the voting process for fourth stimulus. You are going to be speechless and very excited for you to stay to the very end. That is a big finale. And then fifth stimulus, raise your benefits up. That's coming up. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I don't want you to miss any videos across the board. So subscribe. Also, like this video. Every like helps. It helps the video appear higher in the rankings of the algorithm. And it also delivers you some you'll play. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. Let's get right into fifth stimulus quickly because fifth stimulus is wonderful. First, they're going to give you another stimulus check. That fifth stimulus check will be next year. The vote on it, December, November. The legislation of it, starting September. Who's behind it? The same people who wrote your third stimulus check recon, the ones that claim they're writing your fourth stimulus recon, and the people who did your first, second, and second stimulus checks as well. Second, the president dedicated $1 billion to money to the Social Security Administration to ensure that you get your checks on time going forward. This is huge for fourth stimulus check, fifth stimulus check, and your monthly checks. After lots of people never got their third stimulus checks on time and had them delayed. Moreover, if you're watching this video and you're missing a first, second, or third stimulus check, you need to file a tax return and request in the tax return, there's a line for it, those missing checks. If you haven't done that, go to a tax preparer to do it. Finally, the big exciting details, which is fifth stimulus will raise your benefits up, especially with a new benchmark, and the new benchmark's inflation. You know what it is, but there's new news about this, which is incredible. Let's go over what's happening. They're going to raise your benefits up one big time, then add a new inflationary benchmark. Remove the asset limit, remove the income exclusion, remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over everything you need to know about how this works. A lot of these details you've learned well as viewers of this channel, as I've educated you on how this works, but let's go over what's new for this morning. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, Survivor benefits, SSA, or multiple benefits, or casino benefits. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. You understand what a benchmark is. It determines whether your benefits go up next year. You understand they apply it in December. You understand that the new benchmark will be inflation. And you also understand that inflation's going up. And you've also learned from me that Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve a week ago, last Wednesday, said inflation will reach its highest price point around December, which is exactly when they apply your benefits lift. So the question is, how big? That's the only question that remains. Wall Street analysts are really looking at about 10% raise at the moment from a 4% inflationary rate at the moment that many believe we're at. Well, let's use that as an example. First, they'll raise your benefits up under fifth stimulus. Then they'll apply a benchmark. And let's say it's 10%. That would raise your benefits up 10%. Not just next year, but lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. And if the inflation rate the year after that is 1%, then you'll be a plus 1, plus 10%. Wow, now that's wonderful news. Also under fifth stimulus, they're getting rid of the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks and some tacos in your hands. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. Now you'll be able to work if you can. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. But if you're in the live chat and you haven't shared what monies you've gotten from this channel, jump in there right now. But if you are watching that live chat and you see those viewers revealing these enormous numbers, or you're hearing them from me, like John with $12,000 a snap, Nisi with $22,000, Art with 3 items, viewers with $5,000 to $7,000 a snap routinely, and $10,000 to $12,000 of rent routinely, how are they doing this? They're becoming members. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comments. Members are delivered from me to them daily, a breakdown on the community page of what is in third stimulus. They learned very quickly from this channel that, yeah, stimulus checks come and go, but these monies dwarf it. Imagine $22,000. It shows that viewers are taking this information and getting money wherever they can get, because $22,000 is a lot more than that December 2020 $600 stimulus check. It's a lot more. And I want you to do that as well. So consider becoming a member. Links at the top of the chat and pin comment. All right. So here we go. The big finale on the vote. How they do the vote. When the vote. What's at issue? Here's what you need to know to start. Recon, bipartisan. 2 items. There is only one way that there's 3 ways that the recon can be called for a vote, but there's one way that'll kill the recon. You can call the recon for a vote before the bipartisan. You can call the recon at the same time of the bipartisan, but you can't call the recon after the bipartisan. It will kill it. It will die. They won't have enough votes in favor of it. So if someone told you they're calling the recon for a vote today, yeah, but they're calling the bipartisan for a vote, 10 hours earlier. What? Is that okay? Do you know the answer? Well, you better know the answer, because if they call the bipartisan for a vote first before your recon's over. When they call the recon for a vote, it will not pass. They will not have votes, and all your stimulus is gone. It's as simple as that. So it's not so much what day they call the vote. It's how they call the vote. Now, the great news that you need to know is that how they call vote is not an issue, a worry, not a concern, because the only people that have your back in this are the people who have the determining factor, the control over when it's voted on. Chuck Schumer, head of the Senate, Nancy Pelosi, head of the House, under the Constitution, are the only 2 people who can determine when things are called for a vote, what's called for a vote, how it's called for a vote. They make the determination. Guess what? They made the determination. Recon ain't going last. That's very secure. So then what? Well, here's what you're going to see in this recording. That over the last few weeks, these people have been meeting, these progressives and these Democrats, plotting these things out. Oh, did I say plot? Oops, sorry. Preparing things out. And when you start to see things preparing things out, did they plot this out? Did they intentionally set the recon to come out of recon? Did they essentially set up the bipartisan to come out of the recon, to pass the recon? Let's go over what's going on. What happened was a new report says that the Progressive Caucus has been meeting with the White House repeatedly and said that they will only vote in favor of the recon if the recon goes for a vote first. And then Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, says we, Democrat progressives, have a commitment that regardless of what happens with the bipartisan, we will get a recon that goes as far as we want it to go. I mean, that basically says we're going to put as much as we want in the recon. Guess what? You're going to see in just a second that they do put as much as they want in there. Next, Representative Ricky Torres, who's Democrat of New York, said that I refuse to vote for any bill unless we call the recon for a vote first. And guess what he put into the recon? Housing. Housing? Housing relief is in the recon? What's going on here? What's going on here is that Jalapal tipped us off with more revelations about dates. Notice I told you earlier in this video that Nancy and the president were having meetings over the last 3 weeks. We never knew about them until just last week. Well, guess what Jalapal did? Jalapal issued a statement on Monday saying that the caucus was fully briefed about separating the recon away from the bipartisan over 10 days before last Monday. Everyone knew this was going to happen except us and the GOP. Does that sound like very elaborate preparations? It is. This is what Jalapal said. Jalapal said that we, Democrats, progressives, have had an agenda to have to accomplish, and linking the 2 bills together is the only way you're going to accomplish it. We progressives did a poll of our members 10 days ago. This is a statement on Monday, 10 days ago from last Monday. And the overwhelming majority of our caucus said that we're not going to vote for the bipartisan without the recon first. They've been planning this all along. At that point, the recon wasn't even separated from the bipartisan. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, at that point, the bipartisan was not even separated from the recon. They not only plotted that they were going to be separated, but plotted how it was going to be voted before they even separated it out. This is brilliant. And then when people asked how is it going to be voted on now that's separated out, Nancy Pelosi said, there ain't going to be no bipartisan unless we have a recon vote first. And as I said before, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have a recon. Plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan unless we have the recon bill passed by the U.S. Senate first. Oh, my goodness. Can we top that? What's going on? You see it. It's black and white. The Democrats prepared the recon beautifully. What happened was the following. The recon was large. It had a lot of stuff in there. It had roads and bridges. And they told the American people with beautiful backdrops of roads and bridges, the president standing in front of roads and bridges, saying, I need roads and bridges fixed. I need to pay for my recon by raising corporate taxes. When everyone knew that the roads and bridges was coming out of it. It wasn't going to be about roads and bridges. It never was going to be about roads and bridges for the last 3 weeks. It was coming out of the roads and bridges. It was only going to be about your money for recon. That was still going to be paid by corporate taxes, yes. And that once the roads and bridges was out, okay, you ready for this one? The recon was easier for the Democrats to pass it. They got the Republicans to agree to take the roads and bridges out of the recon. And the Republicans gave the Democrats a gift because now it made it easier for the Democrats to pass the recon because it's smaller. And the Republicans also gave the Democrats another gift because now not only did it make it easier to pass the recon because it's smaller, now the Democrats could add on more recon into the recon, which they've been doing in the last week. They have been adding more stimulus into that recon. More money for other issues, for checks for you, children, money for seniors, money for medicine, money for adults, money for education, and your checks as well. A op-ed in a publication yesterday said the Republicans is titled, "The Republicans Should Never Have Agreed to Do the Bipartisan," because they were basically setting themselves up to see the recon pass. The higher the top line number is on the recon, the harder it is to pass. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending in the recon, the roads and bridges, the overall number of the recon bill got smaller. In other words, the bipartisan deal, which the GOP tried to sign on for, made the recon easier to pass. Oh, Mitch is probably furious. They had nothing to gain from this, the GOP, by blessing the recon because the ungodly money in the recon now got passed easy, now could pass easier now that the items are out of there. Did the president just really set up that GOP beautifully with Nancy, Chuck, and Jalopal? Of course they did. They gave them the bait. They said, here, take the roads and bridges. We'll take it separate. Take it off. You can have it. And you know what? We're going to go finish our recon. Protect the recon, as Jalopal said. Protect the recon. Don't have to protect it anymore. It's in the fort. It's going to the finish line. And now you see how calling the vote, how they call the vote, is the critical issue, not when they call the vote. If they had called the vote 2 weeks ago, it would have died. It would have been too big a recon. It would have been too big a recon. If they had called the vote early last week, it would have died because the roads and bridges were in there. The roads and bridges are out. Now it's perfectly set up. Recon first or concurrently with bipartisan, and away we go, and away we go as well. And with that, stay on this video because it's going to take you into overnight's crypto, but also subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 3,000 likes. Every like helps. It also delivers an enchilada. And consider becoming a member on this big Friday morning. We're going to have a lot of breaking news all weekend long. We are here 24 hours a day. The programming schedule will be unchanged this weekend, so I look forward to seeing you all this weekend long as more stuff unfolds across the board. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning, early morning, and stay with LA for more.